Hi everyone, Tracy with the Rhapsody Art Barn. How are you guys today? It is a beautiful springy day here in Salem, Oregon, where I have a brick and mortar getting ready for the IOD release tomorrow. Who's excited? Who's with me? I'm so excited. It's so hard for me to keep my big mouth shut over all this new stuff. And then of course I do a live like right before they're going to go out into the world, and I can't say anything and I can't use it on my live, which is driving me nuts because, you know, it's all you can think about when you get new stuff is using that stuff. So I'm gonna pull out my arsenal of stuff that I have to get done, and we're gonna work on some shutters. I'm actually sitting here right now putting little teeny things on some tags that I'm making. I use the Media Mist, and I'm using Lexi Grenzer's new stamps I got. I do not sell them, but Lexi Grenzer, Grenzer art, aren't they cute? She's got some spring stamps that I bought, and I just got in. There's a little rabbit and a bird and some eggs and some cute little spring sayings. This one says Spring Dreams. And then put a bird on it. Yes, put a bird on everything, right? But I'm sitting here making these cute little stamps, and then I'm gonna, cute little tags, and I'm gonna use them. So that's what I was working on. Now I'll get back to work. Get back to business, guys, right? Let's get back to business. Put my stuff away that I'm playing with and play with something else. I wore this last time. Look at this. Do you see this? If anybody ever wants to know if the DIY paint will last on fabric, I tried to get this out right away. Summer Crush exploded on me. Oh well, that's okay. I paint, it happens, paint happens, right? Okay, so I have these cute little shutters that I picked up at the Habitat store, and I thought those would be cute for classes, so I was trying to figure out what I was gonna put on them, and I wish I could show you. I don't have my camera in a camera. But they had a inspiration from Macy's. These were painted with a rooster and something behind it. So I thought, oh yeah, I want to do an inlay on these. Aren't they cute? You could even, after you do an inlay, you could even put a wreath on it and make it super fun. Make it your own. But I thought I'd start with, and I always pick these big, huge projects, like huge meaning big, long projects. But I thought I'd start off with staining these. Not that they're not pretty as is, but I'd like to stain them the color I want them underneath. So this part is going to only be seen because it's going to be under the paint that I'm going to put on top. Let's see if I can get you in the center. I'm turned around so you guys, if I ever do anything with letters. So tomorrow's the new IOD release at 9:30 with the sisters. Then I'll be showing the products too, of course, and doing a little project. So tune in tomorrow and we'll see all the new fun stuff. So this stuff is called, this is DIY Paints Liquid Patina. If you guys have ever seen the liquid patina in clear, it's a top coat sealer, but they also have it in, it's called Old and Gray. See, this is why I turned my camera around so you guys can read it. It's also in the brown that I've used, the Dark and Decrepit. It's that really dark color, but you can lighten it with water. They're all water-based, but they're all sealers. You have shutters from your grandmother's bedroom. Oh, that'll be fun to use. What time tomorrow? So the sisters are on at 9:30, and that's after they go on, then we can start selling our stuff. And I have limited edition of everything in stock, but it's not going away. The inlays will eventually go away. Like, they're not going to print anymore, but they're not sold out. So I'm thinking that after the sisters do their thing, and then I think there's a couple people are doing it immediately after, so I'll probably do it around the same time I normally do it, 3 or 4. That's what I'm hoping. Haley's been sick, so pray for me, guys, that she's in the shop, because it's always hard to do a huge release when I'm by myself. Okay, so here is the Old and Gray is the one that I'm going to use, and it takes any raw bare wood, and it does have a sealer in it. So, and it makes it stained whatever color you choose. So the dark and decrepit would make it look dark. I'm making it look like barnwood, old barnwood. It's such a pretty finish. And even just leaving it like this, if you were just gonna do a floral wreath, you know, a grapevine wreath with some florals on it or something would be cute enough, right? Just with this barnwood color, because it just takes any plain pine, plain oak, whatever color wood, and turns it into old barnwood. And of course, because it has a sealer, then you don't have to worry about going back in and sealing it. Now, if I was gonna stick this outside, anything I was gonna stick outside in the weather, I would put a marine spar varnish on it. It will give it a shinier look, but it will last. This is gonna be an indoor project, so I'm not too worried about it. So this sealer will do just fine for that. I'm gonna try to watch what I'm doing. Ooh, I almost dropped this in my camera because I can't really see as I'm tilting it to you guys, the back side of this. So I'm gonna quickly do a coat of this. And the good thing about this stuff is, because it's water-based, even though it's a stain, I don't have to worry about going back in, waiting for it to dry, not putting something else on top of it right away. It's just quickly dries and you're ready to do the next thing. Ready to work on your project. Okay, I did not account for all these little teeny shutter grooves. Guess I should have done that. There's a lot of little moving pieces in these things. But I wanted you guys to see the before and after of this barnwood effect. So I didn't paint it ahead of time. I'm not gonna do a perfect job on this. I can always go back in and do it from the back side when I'm off with you guys. I can do the same effect when I get off. I don't have to do the entire thing front and back, but I want to get at least the parts that are going to show the moving pieces from the front. There's like a hanging, if you can see it, a hanging shutter piece that opens and closes it. But look at how easy this stuff goes on and turns it this gorgeous gray. Just as simple as putting a top coat on. But that's not where we're gonna leave it. We're gonna let this dry or dry it up, and then we're going to put some of the vintage effects on it. Remember, that's that resist I was talking about last time. I've used it before. The resist allows it to act like a candle wax or some sort of a like something that won't be painted, a resist to paint. And so some of this barnwood will show through my painted layer that I'm gonna do next. Any questions? DIY paint, old and gray, dark and decrepit, like Tina, are your favorite. Are they? Yeah, I really do. I love something that's an easy one and done. As far as like, if I'm gonna do a stain that's gonna completely change the look of my piece, I don't wanna wait for it to cure for 72 hours like an oil-based. I want something that's I can do right here, right now, and then be done with it and start the next. I'm gonna turn this over and just get a little bit of what I'm dripping all over the place off my brush and onto this. And I'm not gonna go through and paint the whole back, just the drips. I'll get the drips. Okay. I can go do the back later. How gorgeous is that? Oh, now you can see the difference. Ready? Before, after. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Just as it is. I mean, if you just wanted to leave it like that and hang a wreath on it, that'd be good. But we're gonna go a little bit further. We're gonna actually do some decorating too. So I'll show you how fast it is to dry. While I'm talking to you. So we have to decide what we're gonna put on the front of this. And I had in mind, I've got so many drips because this thing is thing is definitely not an even, easy piece to paint. I had this in mind. This is what I wanted to put on it. This is from the Melange IOD paint inlays. And I thought, oh, that is going to be gorgeous right on there, right? And I'm still going to paint this. I'm going to paint this in Tarnished Pearl. It's this color. DIY paint has so many different whites. They have all different tones. And this one is a brownie white. Not quite as dark as crinoline. Not quite as light as vintage linen. Not quite as gray. It's more taupe. But it's kind of a neutral, and I thought with it's not really a black and white look, but kind of that look for what I'm doing. I thought that would be a good neutral tone. So we're going to use the Tarnished Pearl, so it's going to be distressed because I'm going to use the Vintage Effects and show some of this. And then I thought, wouldn't that be pretty right down the center? However, in looking at this, I realized, I think I've used this before. Look at how it's kind of faded. I can't remember because I do so many darn projects. I think I used this with sealer, which means it may not come off onto this piece because it's the difference when it's not been used. See how white that is? I think I have used this one. So now I'm thinking I don't want to risk my whole project and try it, although I could paint it again. We could try it and see if it works after sealer. You guys tell me what you think. You want to give it a go. It may not work and then I'd have to repaint it, or just the center, you know. Or should I just choose something like this, which is super pretty in its own right. It's just not that big. So I have that one. I could add, these are all my scraps, guys. I could add something else to it. Usually I like 3 items though. I'm not really sure how I like 2. I don't know if I like 2 or not. I also have a 3rd element I could add, but it's kind of running off the paper, so I'm not really sure. It'd be kind of squished in. If I wanted to add a 3rd element, I could. Let's see, I'd have to go from here to here. I don't really have that much room. Here to here. I'd be pushing it. It'd be like that. It'd be squished. No, it won't even go up to there. It'd be squished in. I don't love that. I could just leave one. I thought, well, I could stamp it. I could stamp it. Here's the whole melange. So if I were to do another one, there's a rooster that's really cool. There's that middle thing, but it'd have to go sideways, so I probably wouldn't use that. But this is the piece that I wanted to do, is this one. It's sideways there. That's the one that fits right in here. So I could do that one. I could pull it out. I know, you guys think we should try it? Should I try the one I think I've used before? I don't know if it's sealed in that paint. Just don't know until I try. Then we have some other things. I have this, but it's kind of boring to me in the middle. Let's see, some flowers. All different kinds of flowers. These are my leftovers. I don't know. I think I like this one. Now I just have to decide whether I'm gonna do this one on its own in the middle or add. Okay, I have another thing I could do, and that's to stamp this. I could just stamp this, but it'd be hard to stamp. I think what I'm gonna do is, I think I'm gonna use the adornment or even the lock and key. Or no, these aren't lock and key. These are something key. Doesn't tell me, of course. something with the keyholes. And maybe I'll zhuzh up around the edges. We'll do some zhuzhing. That's what I'll do. What do you think? We could put like a floor in the top and bottom, or use the adornments, which are actual so you guys are helping me process, right? Which are actual adornment edges. So that's the latest release. Until tomorrow, I can say that adornment and go around the outside and zhuzh it up. Let's try that. Okay. Okay, so let's get some paint down on this baby, because I got to get 2 coats of paint down. So first we're going to add so it's almost dry. I mean, it's a little cool to the touch, but it's fine for what I'm doing right now. This is one of my projects that I actually can rush a little bit more than some of the ones I've done in the past. We're just doing paint. Okay, so now I've got this vintage effect. It's very liquidy. It actually doesn't look like it's doing anything when you put it on. Like, it doesn't have any, it's not visible, but it resists what's under it. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little bit down. It's very milky, like milk. It looks like milk, like fat-free milk. Okay, and wherever you put this, it will resist the paint that I'm gonna put down. Okay, so I'm not doing it all over. I just wanna give it a little bit of a, when I wanna sand it back, it's got a little bit more of an aged effect, kind of a factory aged effect. You know how they do it, like in certain places? That's what I'm doing here. I'm just adding some spots where I do not want my paint to stick. And I really am not paying attention too much to where I'm putting it. I probably should pay more attention to where I'm putting it, but I'm just kind of adding it here and there. I don't know how much I want to put, because I don't know what I'm doing for my effect yet. Let's do a little here and there. Just very little. I say that and I keep adding more. Oh, I cracked myself up. Okay. We'll get this going. Okay, so I've just added some of that. You can't even see it. You can kind of see where it's wet. I just added some of that vintage effect. Okay, I'm putting my papers that I'm not going to use out of the way, because you know me, I will get them wet or something and activate them. So did we decide if we're going to use this piece? We didn't, so I'm going to take this out just in case. So I'll take this out just in case. And I'll put these away. Go away. Okay. Okay. If I need them, they're there. Okay, let's see if I can't get you somewhere in the middle of the screen, guys. Okay, so while that was drying, it's all water-based, so, you know, it'll dry pretty quickly. While that's drying, I will get out my tarnished pearl, my gorgeous tarnished pearl color that I'm going to be painting all over this, except in those areas that I just put a resist on. I like to leave the tags. I like to cut this so the tag is still there, because this is the only place on the entire can that tells you what color this is, except for the stuff that you spill out the side because you're using it. So just FYI, tip for this kind of paint, if you want to know what color it is, or you could do like what they do on the at the Home Depot or wherever, you know, the paint cans. You could put a little picture of the color on the top if you want, but I still wouldn't be able to tell you if that was tarnished pearl or not, because there's so many whites. So I like to leave that little tag right there. Okay, and then I'm just gonna take some out. I'm being good, you guys. Look at this. I brought over a container. You can see how thick this paint is and how highly pigmented it is. Just straight out of the can. I didn't even stir it or anything. Look at that. It is some good stuff. It will stick to anything. It is some nice stuff. And I just covered where it says tarnished pearl. My whole reason for doing that. Okay. Now I need a baby wipe, and I want to show this how easy this stuff is because it never dries to where it won't wipe off with water. It's just that easy getting it off of your well, except your fabric, of course. It's just that easy getting it off your stencils and your stamps and all that good stuff too, which I love about this paint. Okay, I'm just gonna grab any brush. I like the DIY ones. This one I like because it has a little pointy edge for this project. And hopefully everything's dry enough that we will be able to do, there's a little spot right there, that we'll be able to see the resist. I don't know. Kind of rushing it, aren't I? Let me do a little heat on it. Do a little heat. Because that part didn't look like it got dry. Come on, little dryer. I bet we can open the back of this. Open it up a little. Let that air go through too, huh? I just want to make sure it gives me that resist. I'm not really worried about going over the old and gray. We'll see if that resist does that. Does a good job if I got it on dry enough. Look at that gorgeous color with that gray. Isn't that pretty? Giving me a little drag because the paint is not quite wet. If I were you at home, I would not go in again with another coat until everything was dry. I'm hoping the resist works because I am feeling some drag. We'll see. The idea being you don't have to use any candle wax or any of that stuff and then have that, or Vaseline or whatever people use, and have that material left over where you can feel it underneath. That's always a gross feeling. This is a white, so it's gonna take 2 coats, but as you know, we're gonna do an inlay, so we need 2 coats anyway. So the first coat is usually just for looks. Just get it on there. Cover it up, and then you could do a decoupage on this. You could try to stamp. It is uneven, so it'd be a little more difficult to stamp in the slats. You'd have to cut apart the paper, but you could do paper. But I'm going to try the inlay. I think it's going to be the easiest. But I like it just like that. Oh, I gotta get you in frame, you guys. Let's see. How's that? Sorry. I need Haley here telling me I'm out of frame, but she's home not feeling good. Send your little well wishes to Haley, who's home in bed. She came in yesterday, but she really wasn't feeling good, so I know she's not lying. She's not lying to her mom, not that she would anyway, but she had the sniffles already yesterday. And then she said, I feel worse. Should I come in? I'm like, heck no, we got our release tomorrow for IOD. Don't you dare come in here. We need somebody in the shop tomorrow. It's gonna be crazy. Okay. So there's our first coat. And as you can see, it's already starting to dry because it's already picking up paint. I'm gonna try to get into those summers real fast while I'm talking. I might have to do them from the other side. I don't know if you can even see. as I'm doing this. And I don't even know if it matters, because although I'm gonna want them painted, the effect is not going to be shown on this part of the shutter, so it's probably going to be easier for you guys to see just the image done and then me to go back in and give a second coat back here. I'll just do enough for you to see the effect. Okay, now where am I going to put my hands? There we go. Okay, note to self, shutters are hard to do. I always try to think of things to do for classes. And this has a lot of grooves. It's like painting chairs. If anybody has ever done a dining room set, it's usually only once. Usually people don't become expert dining room chair and table painters unless they have to for their shops, because they are really not the most fun things to paint after you've done them a couple times. You're like, ugh, all those chair rungs, all that stuff to do. Okay, so I'm gonna let this guy sit this way. See, you can see the difference. Ready? How pretty is that compared to that? I love it. Okay, and again, this is kind of that bleachy whitewash. You could actually rinse this with water, because again, it won't set up until you top coat it. And you could get that bleachy whitewashed effect and just leave it at this. Like, that is a look. You just wipe it back with the paper towel and some water and get a little more of a bleached look. But we're not going to go for that today. We're going to go for another coat, and we're going to do the inlay. So it has to be dry before we put the next coat on. Sorry guys, this is a dryer day. We got dryers. If anybody has any questions. So much is happening right now. I'm going to just dry this while I'm talking. So much is happening right now, spring. I've been posting like crazy, but we have the new Reba Rose papers in, the JRV rice papers in. Roy Cycle's coming out with their next spring papers, and that should be, hopefully I'm getting them any day. I've already ordered them. Oh, my favorite paint in all-in-one. I like Amy Howard, which I carry, but my favorite is the Jamie Ray Vintage. Cottage colors, 6 new colors. I'm so excited. And I'm thinking some of these are going to be colors, not like the pastels that we've had in the past, but like bright colors. Oh man, you guys, so excited for that. So that's coming, I think, the end of this month. So we've got a huge, not to mention, I already did 3 times the IOD release tomorrow. So, you know, can you see how this is, once it starts to dry, it changes colors, but it also covers better. Tarnished pearl is one of those weird colors. I want to show you guys this because I've had problems with this in the past. So people will buy this color, and once you put it on, remember how translucent it looked before I started drying it? It looked like it needed more paint. It did not. It had plenty of pigment on there. It was just a whitewashed look. Once it dries, look at how much more opaque this is looking now. Now you can start to see the color on the shutter. It looks like it's painted where it didn't before. So the dark part is still wet and the light part is the color. Once you wet it again, once you top coat it, it'll turn back into that color. Okay? I know I kind of like the light color. If you like the light color, it's more, I would say you'd want to mix it with, you could mix the tarnished pearl with white swan, probably. Anyway, it's got so much pigment in it, but you can't really always see it on the first coat, especially when it's wet. So don't keep trying to slop more paint on. Just do an even coat like I did. I didn't use a ton of paint, as you can see. I still have paint in my container. And then let it dry. Sit on it for a little bit and make sure that what you're looking at isn't that illusion of it being wet and translucent. Such a gorgeous color. But this is one of those deceiving ones. So I think I've had people are like, I used the whole container and I couldn't get it any darker. I'm like, no, you don't need more. Just let it dry. Okay, so let's decide our design. Now that we kind of got a color scheme going that we kind of see. Isn't this going to be beautiful right in the center? Should I just leave it as simple as that? I'm never that simple. But that is so beautiful, isn't it? Or, okay, so we can do that. Or we could bling it up and do more. 2 elements, which again, not my favorite 2, but I am going to be doing stuff to the outer rim. That's kind of busy to me, but I love that. No, I love this. I kind of want to make it more simple. And then maybe we just do some adornments. Some of the adornment stamps. We could go all the way around it. And do a bigger one at the top, something like this. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Take the keyholes and do something like the medallion. That would be really pretty. Yeah. And some of these around the edges. I don't know. I think I'm gonna do one. Executive decision. Nobody's talking to me anyway. Not that you weren't talking to me, but nobody's giving me idea anyway. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it right in the center. And that's probably easier anyway. So in order to keep this from flipping open all the time, I did pull out my tape, which I can't find now again. And I think I don't know how well this is gonna hold, but I'm gonna try to keep these just stable. Just so I don't flip it around too much. Okay, is there an upside and a downside? I mean, I guess the bigger part would be the bottom, but we could make it any way we want. We could put the medallion on the top and make that the bigger part. I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? We are what we are. We can do whatever we want. So I'm gonna cut out a medallion and I'm such a visual, you guys. I just can't help it. I cannot do it without looking. Bam. Always season your stamps when you haven't used them. Only when you haven't used them. One way and then the next way. Somebody knows what the name of this is. I don't know why I can't remember this. Okay, there are some really fun ones. But I want to get a bigger one. I think this one. I think that's the one I'm going for. But there's a lot of super fun ones on here. And they come with masks sold separately, and I do still have the masks on these, I believe, in stock on my website. I should say this. Everything you see me use, you can find on my website. The IOD, the DIY paint, all the different fun effects, the vintage effect. All of those are on my website, rhapsodyartbarn.com, along with everything else that I sell that's in the shop. So you can always get it online. Okay, so I think a big old medallion up here would be super pretty. So I'll turn this around so we can see what it's gonna look like. So should we make this the top and put a medallion up there? I think it's cute. Okay. So I'm gonna go make this, I'm gonna make this the top, the big piece, the top. Okay. We're not gonna do the top right now, so you don't need to see that. Yes, good, Stephanie. Yay, give me some hearts, I love it. Okay, so now I'm gonna grab my same brush, my one for the tarnished pearl, DIY tarnished pearl, and I'm actually going to do a no-no and dip into this, so I'm gonna do it off camera. You can't see it. Looks good like that. I like the single one. I'm gonna just add a little more paint in here into my little container. And I'm gonna start on the outside because I don't care if that dries up by the time I'm done. Now we haven't been able to see if that vintage effect is gonna work or not until we try to sand it back. We'll see. So far I can't see even where it is, so I don't know if it worked or not. I don't know if I let it dry long enough. So I'm gonna do the outside first. This is my second coat. You can really see it pick up. It's kind of distressing right there. There are places it doesn't want to stick. You can kind of see different, oh, there we go. Different areas. Now, see, this is again, this paint, it kind of tricks you and makes you think you need more. Do not put more paint on. Just put a nice, cool layer of paint. Ignore the fact that I'm going off the camera right now. It's just paint. Nothing exciting going on here. I just don't have enough room to push it into my belly. Okay. When we distress it, I promise I'll show you. And then we're gonna need more paint for the center because the center is where we're gonna put our inlay, and we want as much wet paint in the center as possible. So I'm gonna have some touch up, as you can probably tell, on the insides of the slats, but I've taped them up so that they don't pop open while I'm doing this. The good thing about an inlay for this, unlike a stamp or even a piece of paper, is that the inlay is just paint, and so it's gonna suck in to those grooves. Might cause a little wrinkling, but that's okay. I need more paint. I need lots more paint. I want it kind of juicy. I want it kind of wet. It's gonna suck into those little slats and be easier to apply, and the paint will lay down wherever it's flat. We can't really brayer this one as easily because it's not smooth. We'll see what we can do. I don't know, this is new for me too. I haven't done these before. So I want a good amount right down the center where I'm gonna apply that inlay. It's gotta have wet paint or will not stick, right? We learned this last time. We got new inlays coming, so. Okay, gotta have it right side up. What do you guys think? Right about middle? I can count the slats. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.5, 1, 2.5. Okay, and I'm gonna start in the center, and I'm gonna kind of use those slats to my advantage. See that? Go from the in, out, in, out. Let's see how, now if you had a stamp, it'd be really hard to do that. I think I could do it. I'm gonna try at some point, but I want this to be dark and wet, not soaking, but dark and wet. And then I go through with whatever I have handy. This time it's a baby wipe, and kind of pat it back, that water I just added, and also add a little moisture to the areas that didn't get it, right? Okay. Here we go. It's on. Woo woo. That's gonna be so cute, don't you think? Okay, now you have to just, it's a waiting game. You have to let it dry. I'm not gonna get rid of this paintbrush because it looks like I'm gonna have some touch-up to do, but I'm gonna start drying the sides and then we can see if we can stamp it. Yeah, I like the single. I think it's pretty. And like I said, it's wider up here, so we're gonna have to do a bigger stamp up there, which I pulled out already. So let's start by drying it again. I don't know if I should, what's easier for you guys to see? Facing it towards you. Okay. So again, this paint does not take a long time to dry. We should be able to mess with it in just a few minutes. And I'm going to do some distressing after I do the inlay and the stamp, so I'm going to, you know, I'm not going to seal it right now. I don't need to put any sealer on yet. So there it starts to dry. You can see how light it gets. What a different color it becomes. So gorgeous. And if you like it lighter, then you have to add a lighter color into the paint. Like I said, the white swan. Because it will get back down to this kind of tarnished pearl looking color. While I'm sitting here, I've got drips. I'm gonna try to fix some of those obvious drips that I can see that you probably can't. Because we're still gonna want those shutters to work. Because it's paint, it's just like we're painting the shutters. So we can still use them as shutters. Right? And we're gonna want that paper to get nice and light and dry. So that top part is almost all dry where we've been applying the heat. And I think we can stamp on it pretty soon. I try not to do too much in one area of heat ever. But the DIY paint, it doesn't seem to be bothered by heat. It doesn't bubble. All the all-in-ones do. If you get too much heat on any all-in-one paint, it will bubble. It's that top coat. It doesn't like too much heat. But the DIY paint, it's like clay. It just absorbs into that chalky finish. It absorbs the heat and just dries it out all throughout. You can tell it's a true chalk paint because it just dries it. Like when you're on the beach, you know, and you see a sand dollar and it dries out all evenly. That's what this does. How gorgeous is that? Okay. Let's see. I'm going to have to stamp. This is when I should have been standing up. Okay, let's see. Hold on. Okay. It's going to be rocking on that thing. Maybe I can do it sideways. It's rocking on the bar in the back. Oh, that's ugly. I made a mess, guys, on the back. So, okay. So let's lay this out just a little bit and see. I have other options too, but I think that length is good. I know they're all so pretty, and I like the fact that it has the flower in the center. Like some of these are open, so you could use them as a doorknob. Oh, no, this isn't the knob topper. I keep forgetting. I don't know what this is called. It's bugging me. Okay, so I'm gonna put this away. We're using that top one. And then I'm going to pull out We didn't use this. We didn't use that. Trying to keep track of all my stuff. Let's pull out the adornments. This is IOD's. I finally got some more of these in. The stamp holders, stamping envelopes, I think is what they're called. And I just cannot live without these. I always cut apart the picture of them so I know how many pieces are supposed to be in the container. That shows everything that's in this bag. So I'm thinking, I love that right there, kind of goes with it. But any of these you could really have fun with. I mean, that one's gorgeous. I've never used that one, have I? I should. This one is gorgeous, but this reminds me of like a picture frame. Gosh, isn't that pretty? Oh, it's got something stuck to it. It's got a medallion stuck to it. There's medallions. I could even, you know, the good thing about stamps is you could even set this in the center and then tape off the other pieces of these and make this bigger. Does that make sense? So I would use a mask for this one and then could lay out and make this bigger in the center if this one was too small. I think it's okay. I don't know, I could do that. You guys want to see me do it? You guys know what I'm talking about? I could do that. I can make it bigger. It's kind of fun to see. So these are masks. There's all sorts of new fun stuff coming. I want to tell you about this stuff, but I can't. I'm being good. You know how many customers want my sneak peeks? I'm like, no. You can't see it till tomorrow. I'm good. I'm a good girl. Okay. So these are the masks. They come with the stamps. Every piece that's on here has its own mask. Okay? So for instance, this one goes with this one. And what I usually do is write on them so I know which one goes with which one. Okay, so I'm not gonna worry about that right now, but if I wanna find the medallion, okay, so the way this works is the one that you want on top goes first. Okay? So if you want this to be the center and these to be under them, under this, then you do this one first and then these. Does that make sense? I'll show you. Okay. We're just gonna play around. It's just paint. I can always paint again. Almost missed you again. Hey, Kathy. It's good to see you too. Okay, so let's do this. I've just got some black ink. That's what I'm gonna use. This is pretty dark. I think black will match. The only thing I question is if this is too light, you can use the stone gray, which, now that I'm saying that, I wonder how dark this is. Shall we do a sneak peek? It looks pretty black. Ooh. I think it's pretty black. Okay, so too much stuff going on. I'm gonna try to do this on camera so you can see. Okay, we're not using this guy. I don't know where this guy's going away. We're using this guy. Okay, so we're doing this. We're getting them all inky. Okay, this is just black IOD ink. I'm using a black IOD ink stamp pad. It comes sold separately, so you have to get both. You have to get whatever color ink you want and then whatever ink pad. Okay, now I want to center this as best I can, but you know me, I'm not gonna sit and freak out over it. So I'm gonna do it right about in the middle, okay? And I'm just gonna hold it with one finger at all times, and then I kind of just make sure that I'm pushing down around all the edges. That's as hard as it is. It's down, it's not down, it's up. Boom. Okay, so that's kind of the center. And then this ink, also easy to get off, so I just take it off with a baby wipe right away. Okay, that one's done. I put this one back inside this container so I know it's in there with the one I'm not going to use right now. Okay, then we make sure it's dry. Sometimes it takes a minute with the ink, but on the DIY paint, it tends to get sucked into that dry clay-like substance, especially there's no top coat. So we should be fine pretty much right away. Okay, now, even though this looks round, it is oval, so you want to make sure it's covering every area. It's sitting on there the right way. Now it's masked, okay? Now we can't cover it with anything. Like, no matter what we put down, we only are putting it down around what we just did. So it's going to be on top. It's going to be at the forefront. Now we're going to take, even if I get some on the mask, it doesn't matter, I'll show you. So now we're going to take this and we're going to do one half. I'm going to do this half first. It's easier for me to show you because I'm backwards and upside down. So we're going to do this half first. And even though I'm getting some on the area I don't want it to be down onto the project, this will help mask it. That's why it's called a mask. This will help mask it so it doesn't get on top of that project. Okay, so now this is where I have to kind of be mindful of where I want it to go because it's not part of the original design, right? So I want it to be even. I want it to be right to the edge of that mask. And I'm just gonna hold it. I only did one half at a time. I just want to show you, I'm making the center a little bigger to match the scale of the piece. And I'm just showing you guys how this works. Let's just face it, I would have just done it the other way, but it's easier to do. And you can do whatever in the center. You could do, you know, a picture of a bird or whatever, you know, whatever your centerpiece is. But look at now, the center is going to be bigger. See? Okay, now, if you haven't noticed, I've lost my mask, and a lot of times it gets stuck on the piece that you just did. Somebody's asking a question. No, you don't have to use IOD ink. I will say that I do like IOD ink, and it's not just because I sell it. I have tried other inks, and I do like IOD ink. Okay, so this one, back on. Watch out because your masks disappear. They stick to the bottom parts of the other stamps. Now, I am going to do the same thing I did before, and I'm going to wipe off this stamp because it's got ink on it, right? And I don't want that to get on. I don't want a double exposure, right? So now I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to do the other half. Let's see, wait, yeah. The other half, notice I'm using something to protect my piece because you do get ink all over the place, whether you try to or not. I store my ink upside down. I put my lids on, store them upside down. Now, we're gonna do the same thing. This is gonna be hard to do upside down and backwards. Okay, but you can bend it. So I want it to match, right? So I can, now this doesn't have ink on it, this half. So I can just lay it down just like that and kind of see if I'm even or not. You know what I mean? Like I can twizzle it before I set the inked part down. I got that mask that I put it on, and I've got the other one already done. So I just want to make sure it's not sideways at all. You know, I want it to be somewhat level. This is where you have to get every little piece down before you lift it up because you don't want to go back in, right? Okay, so now it picked up that mask again. And these little masks, I mean, easy to lose, right? So what do we do with the mask? We put it right back into the container. We do not want to lose that. Now we have the medallion and the mask back in the container. And hopefully I'll remember to do the same for this. Okay. Now see, it takes it from a smaller medallion in the center. I don't know if you can even see the difference. It takes it from a smaller one to just a bigger, it matches the bigger scale of the piece. Cute? Okay, so that's how you use masks. Not hard, just step-by-step process. Okay, now we're gonna go through and this stuff is still drying, believe it or not. I can see the variation in color, but this stuff looks pretty dry. What do you think? What do you think? So I don't know. Do we need to edge the whole thing all the way down? What do you guys think? It would be very fancy. Kind of like the bottom. I don't know. I haven't decided. I cannot decide whether I need to do edges or not. I don't want to go too much. I don't know. Let's do this. Let's do this and then we decide. I gotta take it one step at a time. If I don't know, I don't do it. Where do I get my plastic storage bag? Right here, Kathy. Right here at my store. They're called Envelope for Stamps and they're by IOD. So they're in the IOD tab of my website if you don't want to type in Envelope for Stamps. They're probably in the shop by brand, I think is what it is. And they're not terribly expensive, and let me tell you, they're very worth it. Okay, so this is dry enough. I think the ink has transferred now. I kind of took that little peek before, but we've dried it. Now we have to wet it again. And now, just mind you, because of the paint that we're using, this DIY paint, it is going to wipe back anything that you get wet if you're rough with it, okay? So just know that. I'm gonna actually pick out a fresh baby wipe because I've used my other one now for my ink, my paint, my everything, my hands. Yes, I'm a bit of a reuse it type person, so I'll use it up till it's nothing left. Okay, so hopefully this has all transferred and let's see. Oh my goodness. I'm watching it right along with you. I'm looking up there. This is a first run. I didn't try the other one. I really wanted to, but maybe I'll try it on my own and see if it works and let you guys know. So I always lay these to the side because there's still plenty of paint on that, right? You can still see the image really well. It's gonna bring that tarnished pearl with you to the next piece. So let's say you did it on top of a yellow. The next time you would see the white and the yellow. So just know that it'll carry that paint with you for your second run. Remember how we did this one last week? And it carried the turquoise paint into the cream paint. Yeah, so that turquoise was just from the last project. None of this had turquoise on it. It was from the paper. Kind of cool. Okay. Ooh, oh my gosh, I got that sun. I'm gonna have to do something about my windows. I don't have my mom here. Just doing my shade for me. Let's see if I can get it out of the sun a little bit. Okay, gosh, I think that's really pretty though. What do you guys think? Can you see the picture well enough? Do you think the image is good enough, or do you think the shutter takes away from it? What do you guys think? You like it? I think it's pretty. Okay, so it's still damp. You can see how it's a different color. So I'm gonna just lighten it so you can see the whole effect. And then we're gonna try to distress it a little bit, and then we're gonna try to figure out if I should do some more ornate stuff around it. I may not for today because it's already 5, and I may leave it like this and just, sometimes I just stare at things for a couple days until I decide what to do. You know, if I don't know right away, I just don't know, and I just wait. If I don't want to go too crazy and make it and ruin it, I don't know. Kind of feel like, I don't know, I kind of like the simplicity of it. Sometimes I do, not very often. I like bling. Sometimes I do. I like simplicity. Okay, let's see if we can get some of that resist to work. Now, the beauty of the resist should be that you don't really even barely have to do anything, and it comes off in the places that you put it. And I don't know if you're going to see a big chunk of it, if it's going to be as noticeable, because, well, first of all, I don't think I let it dry before I did it enough. I'm going to use a heavier sandpaper. Usually you don't need one with this stuff. But second of all, I did a gray underneath, so it's not going to be like a dark. A lot of times when I do this, I'll try to show you up close, but a lot of times when I do this distressing, I'll have like a black or a dark underneath, but see, I kind of did a subtle gray on this one. So I don't even know if you're going to be able to see on camera as closely. That resist, you know, I should have marked out where I did the resist too, huh? That probably would have been smart. Oh, I can see it's coming off here really easily. But you guys might not be able to see it because it's gray. And you can just go right over your stamps too, but make sure that they're dry. And you can do the same thing with this. You can go right over this and distress it as well, but make sure it's dry. You don't want to be rubbing that ink all over. So here's some of that distressing coming back in places. Honestly, I don't think I let it dry enough. It's not doing it as easy as it usually does. And this paint distresses back with water if you want it to. You don't even need to do sandpaper. I was trying to use the effects. But it's smoothing the paint out to do it this way. You don't have to do it. See all that rubbing off there? I don't even know if you can see clearly the rubbing off. There it goes. You can kind of see it, how it's not wanting to stick. That's that gray underneath, which is nice and subtle for this piece. But I don't think the resist is working as well as I would hope. So I think what I'm going to do, just to show you guys how easy it is with this paint, without it being sealed, of course, I'm going to take some water on just a paper towel, use a cloth, and if I can get it out of the sun, let's pick a spot, like right here. Look at how fast it distresses back with water. Do you see that right there? You don't even need to sand it. Now it's going to take off that color again. Don't worry about that color, please, because it will darken and lighten again. Like I said, yeah, the distress is it's actually distressing better with water. The distress is kind of working in the spots that I used it, but it's working better to rub it off with water. Just go with whatever's easiest. Go with the flow. There we go. There we go. Some of that distressing we want. Yeah. Okay. Let's get some of that distressing. You can see it up top there. Makes it look like it's supposed to be worn out in those areas. Here we go. We can get it in there so you can see. Yeah, is that pretty? Sorry about my light here. Dang sun. Dang sun is taking over my life. We Oregonians just aren't used to it. We get some good sun in the summer, but this time of year, a lot of times it's rainy. Okay, and I'm scrubbing, you guys, and this stuff is only coming off in those areas that has that stuff. So that stuff does help. That Vintage Effects, it is pulling back with the water right where I want it to, right where I put that stuff on, and not where I didn't. Oh, I think that's gorgeous. Okay, let's see if I can get you up so it's not in the sun. Okay. Okay, looks good, love it, thank you. No other questions? So it could use, oh my gosh, get out of that sun. It could use some more, what do you think? It could use some more stuff on it. I think we'll zhuzh it up a little. I'm not really sure what I want to do yet. I do like the bigger medallion in the center. I think that was a good call. It made it bigger. Do you love it, Linda? Thank you. Yeah, so these are inlays. You could probably get away with stamping, like I said, like keeping it like this, but see all those grooves? You would have to really push down in those. And let me show you once I take these off. It's still a shutter because it's paint, right? So, oh, I kind of painted it together. Let's see if I can get it to unpaint. Kind of stuck it on the sides. Let's see if I can get it to undo. Hold on, I don't know what it's catching on and I don't want to break it. Okay. Some of my paint, I should do this anyway to let it dry. I don't know what it's sticking on, but it's sticking now. It wasn't doing that earlier. Probably the sides are really thick with paint now. There we go, there we go, there we go. Anyway, see, it's still a shutter. And then when you close it, it's probably going to stay closed from now on, I think. I don't think I'll mess with the shutter part too much because I like the look of it so much better like this. And I kind of, the paint is thick. Okay. Anyway, there we go. So we've used the old barn wood, the liquid patina in old and gray, to take our wood from the bare wood color to a gray tone, which is what you're seeing underneath in those spots now. You could use a darker color and have the darker come through. It's a preference. I did the gray, so it's going to be more muted and softer underneath. Like all those scratches, you don't see the dark coming through, it's the gray coming through. Then I put on a couple coats of the tarnished pearl, the DIY paint, and then we put the inlay into a wet coat of that, and then we stamp this using a couple different stamps. We use the center of the adornment, and then this is, somebody help me. You're thinking you love inlays now? Well, Linda, I just showed you, you know, how beautiful your project was that you did when you were here. And we miss you here at the barn already. Okay, so play with that. That'll be fun. I think I'm going to do some more stamping on it. I haven't decided what I'm going to do, but I really love how simple and fun and beautiful that look is once you get it all done. And I'm so sorry about that sun. I'm out of here. I'm going to get out of the sun. I might melt. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Remember, tomorrow is the IOD launch. I will be showing all the products. I will have, you know, a couple ideas of things that I'm going to be doing. And there's so many people who are posting already gorgeous pieces. So you're going to have so much fun with this launch tomorrow. But I have limited edition. If you want it, You know, my shipping is free over 100, so take advantage if you're not in the area. If you are in the area, come see us. We're going to be here, and we're going to be playing around with the stuff, and live I'll be playing around with the stuff too, probably in the afternoon. Have a wonderful night, guys. See you soon. Bye.